Hey Mixers, welcome back to another NFL Player Props video. We have to review Thursday Night Football, which wasn't too bad, 1-1, not great, not terrible. Thursday night games have not been good to us, and that's why we only bet half a unit to 1 unit on it. But let's jump into that, and then we'll jump into a bunch of the picks I have for you for this week. Okay, so I gave you Nico Collins over 8.5 targets. That was a terrible call. He only had 3 officially. He technically had 4. One was like clearly to him, but the pass was deflected, and they didn't count that as a target, even though he still almost caught it. So anyway, I don't know why that one didn't count, but it didn't. And then I gave you Josh Allen to not fumble. That one did hit. Luckily, that was lucky because he got sacked like 8 times, but he did not fumble. I also gave you in the video Josh Allen over his longest completion, which did hit as well, because I wasn't sure if you'd be able to get that fumble prop, but I did not count it towards the record here, which were at about 53.51%. Not too bad. I would like it to be, 54 is like kind of I don't want to drop below that, which obviously we are below that. And then 56% or higher is where I like to be. All right, so here are the game bets that I've already made that I gave out in the Monday or Tuesday video that I go over all the sides, totals, and spreads. The teasers, I'm not doing a 5-leg teaser. These are just teaser legs that you can use if you like them. These are the ones I liked the most that you could mix and match and use in a 2 or 3 team teaser, something like that. I would probably never do like a 5-team 6-point or 7-point teaser. That's just a little crazy. All right. Speaking of crazy, here's our super teaser for the week. It only has 10 legs because we didn't do the Jacksonville and Arizona game, and then we didn't do the Raiders game or the other team that they were playing, which for some reason now I can't think of it, the Cowboys. So we didn't do the Cowboys, Eagles, and we didn't do the Raiders, Browns in this super teaser, just because that game was still going on when I built this, and so the props weren't up, and then I never got back to it. We did cash the first leg already. Buffalo team total under 31.5. All right. We cashed our first spread and first total on the week, but we did not get the money line. So decent start to the week, I suppose, but you can screenshot that if you want to. Those are all my picks on all of the games. Although I haven't been picking really well. Player props is where I make my money, guys, not the game bets, but I'm starting to do the game bets this year for the first time. So I'm just trying to get better at them. So that's why I'm tracking them. So our first player prop here is Caleb Williams over 219.5 passing yards. He's only over this 50% of the time on the season, 5 out of 10 games. But 8 out of 10 quarterbacks went over their passing lines against the Steelers team. The only 2 who didn't were Joe Flacco and Justin Herbert. And Justin Herbert still went over this line. He just didn't go over his line. So I think Caleb Williams has a good chance here. I think that they are going to win the game, the Bears, but they could at some point find themselves trailing. I don't know. I just think they have such great weapons through the air and not so much on the ground necessarily, that I think that that's where they're going to do most of their damage. We just need the Steelers to be able to keep it close in this game to force Caleb to continue throwing. All right, Derrick Henry over 17.5 rush attempts. He's over in all the Ravens' wins, except for this game with the Browns where he only had 11. So in all of the wins, besides that one, he's gone over this line. I do expect them to beat the Jets, and so the statistics say he'll go over this line. It could turn out just like the Browns game where he only has 11 or 12 carries, just doesn't need them to completely blow out the Jets. But I'm not saying the Jets are going to win or even be able to keep it close, although I did take them on the spread, I think. But I just think that Derrick Henry will get, I don't know, 3 to 4 attempts on each drive at least. And so that puts us over this line. All right, Dallas Goedert over 32.5 receiving yards. He's over in 55% of games. He had 44 in a head-to-head with Dallas in week 1, and 6 of 9 similar tight ends went over against Dallas. So I think you can actually get this for a better price at 30.5 right now. But I really like this one. I like a lot of tight ends this week, which is kind of strange. So you'll see a lot of tight end props today. But that is what I'm liking for the Eagles-Cowboys game. And then Noah Fant over 23.5 receiving yards. Again, I think you can get this a little lower now even. But he's over this in every single game. So I just don't understand this line at all. There's no Jamar Chase. This is a ladder candidate in my opinion. Because The tight ends who went over their lines against this team doubled their lines against this team. So against the Patriots. So I just think it's a good matchup. They're down a pass catcher. There's no reason this should still be here. And I bet it probably 4 times this year, and I should have bet it every week. All right. Oh, the one thing I wanted to say about that, he's only over 50. He's playing 50% of the snaps, so he's not playing 75% of the snaps here, and that's could be a reason we're getting the low line. All right, Pat Freiermuth over 16.5 receiving yards. He's over in 6 of 9 games, only catching 1 pass in some of these games. So this is risky, but I like it because Mason Rudolph has played with Pat Freiermuth before. So if he's the quarterback, I think he'll feel comfortable with Pat Freiermuth. And then if Aaron Rodgers is playing, then maybe his wrist isn't fully 100%, and he relies a bit more on his tight ends, Jonnu Smith, Darnell Washington, Pat Freiermuth. He has not really gotten going this season, though, so this is risky. All right, and then my leans. So Tyler Warren over 50.5 receiving yards. He's over in 70% of games. The only 2 misses, well, there's 3 misses. So there's 2 misses here against the Titans and the Raiders. Those were big blowout wins for the Colts. And then the Steelers game, he caught 5 passes and only had 26 receiving yards. So that was a fall apart game for the Colts. We all saw that. We all watched that happen. If Tyler Warren gets 4 or 5 catches against the Chiefs, I don't think he's only going to get 26 yards off of that. So this is just a lean, and I have another Tyler Warren bet for you, and that is 23.5 receiving yards in the first half of the game. He's over 90% of the time. So the only miss was that game against the Steelers. So again, if the Colts have a fall apart game, he may miss this, but otherwise, if it's just a standard game, I think he goes over. Javonte Williams over first quarter rushing yards, 17.5. He's over 100% of games, including a head-to-head with the Eagles in week 1, which was 33. And I should have been betting this every single week, but I think I've only bet it like 3 times. But clearly, there's just a trend here with the Cowboys and how they like to run their game plan. And so I'm going to stick with it. Tyjae Spears over 5.5 first half receiving yards. He's over in 4 out of 6 games this season, including the last 3. And he's clearly taken over as the pass catching back where they want to throw to him. So I like it. I'm going to roll with it. But first half props are always a little inherently risky, and that is why it's just a lean. All right, Xavier Legette over 24.5 receiving yards. He's only over in 3 games this season, so this might look a little risky, which is why it's just a lean. But the 49ers are really weak on the inside, like the slot and the inline. So you could take Legette, Coker, or Tommy Tremble here, and I think that you'd have a pretty good day. You might even put all 3 of them together because I think they could all go over their lines. But he just needs to catch 2 passes, and he's over this line. So I really like it. And then this one is not Xavier Legette, even though that's what it says on the screen. So this is a bonus bet for Jerry Jeudy over 3.5 receptions. So it's plus 135, so we're getting good plus money on it. He had 3 receptions on 7 targets, just barely, in the Ravens game. And so he just needed to catch 1 more of those targets. And now he's facing a worse secondary in a dome. And so Shedeur Sanders was really just thrown into that game. Like he wasn't planning on starting that game. He hadn't been practicing with the ones. Now he is. And so I think he's going to have a little bit better showing. Obviously, he's still playing behind that terrible Browns offensive line. And let me just get up on my Shedeur Sanders soapbox for a little bit. Going into the draft, I always had Cam Ward as my number 1. I loved watching him in college. But Shedeur Sanders was my number 2, and no contest. So he just had really good accuracy. So I think that, I liked him better than Tyler Shough. I liked him better than Jackson Dart. And I don't think that was necessarily wrong. He looks really bad because he's playing behind a terrible offensive line with the Browns. I think he's going to look a lot better this week. So I think the lines are a bit disrespectful on him. I am going to probably go in on some of them, but I don't know which ones yet. So, and I'm not probably going to give them out because obviously it could all go wrong. I could look like an idiot. Maybe he really is that bad, but I don't think so. I think he is a decent quarterback. He's playing behind a terrible offensive line, and he'll get better. He needs to learn. Obviously, he needs the practice. He hasn't even been practicing with the players that he just got thrown onto the field with in the last game. All right, soapbox over. Sorry about that. Here are the players to watch. These are the props that I like on Prize Picks that are like so many receiving yards in the first 2 receptions. These hit at about a 60% rate, guys. So that's a pretty good rate. So I have 6 of them that I'm looking at. These are the numbers I think that they will be, but they could be a little bit different. And so we'll see. They usually don't put them out till the morning of. So tomorrow morning we'll probably see these, maybe later tonight. But these are the 6 I'm looking for. If I make any of these official best bets, I will post it in the pinned comment. I will also put it on X. All right, here are the leans and the bonus bet. You can take a screenshot of that if you want to. And then here are the best bets. You can take a screenshot of that. I need you to choose 2 out of these 5 best bets if you want to get in for the cash prize giveaway. So make sure you like the video. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel, of course. And then choose 2 out of these 5 best bets that you think are going to hit. And if they do, you'll be in for the cash prize giveaway with everybody else who also gets their picks correct. You guys know I'm really grateful for your support. I will never ask you guys for money, no matter how big this channel gets. I will never ask you guys for money. I'm doing this as a hobby for fun. I like it. I would eventually like to start making money from YouTube. If so, we can increase the cash prizes, and I'll just give YouTube's money to you guys. And that's the plan. So please give me those likes. It's free for you. Give me those comments. Again, it's free. Takes 2 seconds. All right. Thank you, guys. Bye.